It began with a scream not from pain, but from something deeper, something cold and sharp that moved through her bones like ice in her blood. She opened her eyes and nothing looked right. The sky above was purple, the ground below was soft and blue. And three suns burned in the sky. Her name was Kara, just Kara, no rank, no title, no family, just her and a quiet life back on Earth. She had been walking home from work, a normal day, just like any other, then came the light. It had swallowed her whole, pulled her into the sky, into darkness, into silence. Now she was here, wherever here was something. Moved in the shadows, something tall and thin with skin that shimmered like metal. It had too many eyes and no mouth, but it spoke not with words, but with pressure and heat and a strange rhythm that pressed against her thoughts. You are ready, it said, though it had never made a sound. Kara shook her head, trying to step back, but the ground moved with her, soft and alive, like breathing stone, I think. You made a mistake, she said, but the thing only blinked its many eyes and reached out, a touch like fire, but cold pain and light shot through her. Then darkness. When she woke again, she was not the same. She could feel it inside her, something wild. Something loud, the air felt slower, the world too small, and her skin burned like something was trying to break free. Kara stood and saw the tall beings standing in a circle around her. One by one, they placed their hands on her chest, and each time she saw flashes, worlds, dying stars, breaking creatures, screaming, all fed into her mind like a river of terror. They called it the gift, but it did not feel like one inside. The glowing walls of the alien chamber, she heard them speak this time with real words. We searched the stars, they said, for a warrior strong in mind and body chosen by the path. The path was old, older than time, and it had rules. Only one could be chosen. Only one could carry the seed. And they thought that one was her, but Kara was not a soldier, not a fighter, not even brave. She was quiet, she was small, she was nobody. They had chosen the wrong human, but now it was too late. Something inside her began to shift, to rise. She could feel her hands heat up, her veins glow. Like wires, she reached out without meaning to, and the nearest alien flew back like it had been hit by a truck. They stared at her, then not with pride, but with fear. It was not working right. They whispered, she is not responding as expected. We gave her too much. She was not ready. They tried to take it back. Machines wrapped around her head, tried to pull the power from her bones, but the power fought back. It screamed through her nerves. It crushed the machines and burned the walls. She did not know how she was doing it. She did not understand any of it. She only knew that something inside her had broken loose. Ran then through tunnels made of light, through doors that opened without sound. Sirens blared in alien tones they called for. Guards for weapons, for fire, but nothing could stop her. She burned through steel, she bent walls with her breath. Her eyes glowed now, her heart beat like thunder. At the end of the tunnel stood a window, and beyond it, a sky filled with stars. She saw Earth there, far away, just a dot. She wanted to go home, but she could not like this, not yet. Behind her, the tall ones gathered again. They begged her, now, come back, let us fix this. Let us take the power away. It is not safe in you. It is not safe in any human, but Kara did not trust them, not anymore. She looked at her hands, then at the stars. They had given her something they did not understand, and now they were afraid. She was afraid too. But deeper than the fear was a fire. She had been taken, changed, turned into something else, and now she had a choice. She could hide, or she could rise. The chamber shook. Aliens shouted, ships lit up with weapons ready to fire. But Kara smiled. They gave her alien powers by mistake. Now she was coming for all of them. Asterisk. Kara ran through the glowing halls, her breath loud in her ears. Though she did not feel tired, her body moved faster than it ever had, her feet barely touching the ground, as if the air itself was lifting her with every step. The walls twisted and curved and pulsed like veins inside a living beast, but she did not stop. She could feel the power rising again under her skin, like something alive, hungry, wild. Behind her, alarm screamed, not with sound, but through the air, through her bones, through her mind, as if the whole place was warning itself about her. Doors opened before she touched them. Floors shifted beneath her like waves, and lights blinked and dimmed in fear. She did not know where she was going, only that she had to get away, get out before they tried again, before they made her into something worse. She turned a corner and found a room filled with floating glass, like mirrors made of water and fire at once, and in them she saw not just her face, but 1,000 versions of her. Some were smiling, some were crying, Some were screaming, and one was not human at all. She stared at it, her hands trembling, even with all the power inside her. "What am I?" she whispered, though no one answered. The mirrors cracked as if they heard, or as if they felt her question break the silence that held this place together. She stepped back, and the room darkened, the air heavy like a storm about to break. Kara turned and kept moving somewhere deep inside. She still hoped it was all a dream. Or a trick or a test, but every second reminded her it was real, the heat in her chest, the flicker in her eyes. The way walls melted when she touched them. She had become something else. And she hated it, not because it hurt, not because it scared her, but because she never asked for any of it. They had stolen her life, taken her from Earth without warning, without care, and now they wanted her to obey. They called it a gift. But Kara knew a prison when she saw one. She stopped in a large chamber where machines floated in the air, humming with blue energy, and in the center was a table not for eating, but for cutting and wiring and changing. She saw straps, metal and smooth and dried stains of blood, not red, but black and thick like oil. Her hands curled into fists, her heart beat faster, and the lights in the room dimmed like they feared her anger. They put others here before her, maybe. Many, maybe hundreds, maybe thousands, and now they had her, or they thought they did from the far side of the chamber came a voice. "You should not be awake," it said. A tall figure stepped forward, skin silver eyes, glowing mouthless, and still it spoke. "You were not meant to survive the merging. You were supposed to break, to obey." Kara stared at her, jaw tight, her hands shaking not from fear, but from something else, something older, something rising. "I want to go home," she said. The being tilted its head. "This is your home now. Earth is dust. In your shadow. You are no longer one of them. You are more. You are ours." The walls began to close in machine arms reaching cables, twisting. She stepped back, but the machine arms were faster. They grabbed her wrist, her shoulder, her throat for a second. The fire in her chest dimmed. She could not breathe. Then the power woke up. Her skin glowed white. Her eyes turned black, and the cables burned to ash. She screamed, but the sound was not human. It cracked the walls. It shattered the chamber. The tall being flew backward, slammed into a console, smoke filled. The room flames danced across the machines, like snakes made of light. Kara stood in the middle, her body shining, her face blank eye. "Did not ask for this, but I will not be your weapon. I will not be your mistake." She walked past the broken machines, past the smoke and sparks and silence. Every step made the floor groan as if it wanted to crumble, but she did not stop far ahead. There was a ship, small, silver, shaped like a tear and floating gently above a glowing platform. She stepped onto it, and the ship responded like it knew her, like it feared her. The doors closed around her, and the stars lit up on the glass. She saw Earth again, small and far. She missed it. She missed the sky, the wind, the rain, but she was not that girl anymore. She was something else, not a god, not a soldier, not an alien, just a human with power she never asked for, and she was heading back to ask one simple question: why me? The ship moved without sound, without engines, without heat, like it was part of space itself, sliding through blackness, as quiet as a thought. Kara sat in the center, her eyes locked on the blue planet growing larger with every breath. She should have felt joy or peace or maybe fear, but instead there was only one thing inside her. The question why Mesh had been no one, just a woman in a small town living a life that barely touched the edges of anything big. No wars, no medals, no secrets. She walked to work, drank cheap coffee, stared at clouds, dreamed of places she would never see. And now she had burned a hole through walls that had never been broken. Now she carried something old and dangerous inside her, something that did not belong to her. World or any world she knew, the ship began to slow as Earth filled the screen. She saw clouds drifting, saw lights glowing, saw oceans rolling, like they always had. It looked the same, but she was not. The ship whispered to her, not with words, but with shapes and signals, images that slid into her mind like memories, landing coordinates, safety levels, local threats. She pushed them away. She did not need safety. She needed answers. The ship lowered through clouds, through rain, through wind. That could not touch its skin. People below stared up. As the silver tear sliced the sky, phones raised, news spread, voices screamed. She returned. The ship touched down in a field not far from where she had once lived. The grass flattened, the air shimmered. The birds vanished. She stepped out, and the ground shook, not from weight, but from something deeper. A tension, a hum. The world felt her now. Kara. Walked through the tall grass through silence broken only by distant sirens and barking dogs, she knew. They were coming, not the aliens, the humans. She had changed. They would see it. They would not understand. She found the house small, quiet, gray. She had passed it every day before everything. And now she stood before it as something new, not by choice. But by force, the door opened before she knocked. A man stood there, older than she remembered, maybe her old neighbor, maybe not. He stared, she stared back, he closed the door slowly and locked it. She turned and walked back toward the road police lights. Blinked on the edge of the street, voices on radios, guns, drawn orders shouted. She raised her hands. I do not want to fight, she said. They did not believe her blast hit her chest. Her body bent back, but she did not fall. The air burned the grass. Caught. Fire, she opened her eyes, and the fire vanished. They froze. She stepped forward. I came back for answers. Not for war, they did not lower their guns. They called for someone, and someone came. He wore black. His face calm, his voice smooth. You should not be here, he said. We do not know what you are, and that scares us. She looked at him. I do not know what I am either, but I want to find out. I want to know why they took me, why they gave me. It's why they chose me. He nodded once. Come with me, he said, or we try to stop you. We do not want to hurt you, but we cannot let you walk free. Kara looked at the men, at the guns, at the fear. Then she looked at her hands. They shook. I will go, she said, but not in chains. They put her in a car. They drove fast. No one spoke. The base was hidden beneath a mountain, thick walls, thicker secrets. They brought her inside. Lights scanned her, doors closed behind her. They took her to a room, empty, cold, a table, a chair. He returned. The man in black, he sat. Tell me what happened, she told him everything, the light, the voices, the power, the pain. He listened, he wrote nothing. He nodded. We knew they were out there. But we never thought they would choose someone like you. We always thought they would speak to leaders, scientists, pilots. Not a woman from a small town. Kara leaned forward. Exactly why me, you paused. Because you are the one they thought would break, and they were wrong. The lights flickered, the room pulsed, her chest burned again. She grabbed the table, not from pain, but from memory. They showed her files, records, others who were taken, none returned. Until her, you are the first, the only, you said, now they will come back for you. She looked up. Then let them try asterisk. The ground shook before anyone saw them, the clouds twisted into spirals. The air grew heavy, like something vast was pressing down from above. Kara stood on the rooftop, her eyes locked on the sky, her body tense, her skin glowing faintly as if it knew what was coming before her mind did. The man in black stood beside her, silent, watching, unsure if she was the danger or the shield. It had been 3 days since she returned to Earth, and the world was already splitting open around her. People panicked, governments argued, satellites spun in silence, watching the stars, and now something was arriving, not human, not friendly. Kara could feel them, not with her eyes, not with her ears. She felt them through her bones, through the echo in her blood, through the strange new thread tied to her soul. They were angry. They were afraid. They were coming to fix their mistake, eh? Sound like tearing thunder rolled across the sky, but it came from no direction. It came from everywhere at once. The clouds tore open, and the ships dropped through, not one, not 10, but hundreds. Shining like knives, moving like thoughts, they surrounded Earth in minutes. Each ship pulsed with light, not red, not blue, something that shifted every time it was seen. Sirens wailed across the city. Fighters scrambled into the air, tanks rolled through streets, but none of it mattered. Kara could see it before anyone else. The ships were not here to destroy. They were here for her. The voice came without warning. It pushed into her mind like a wave. You are broken. You carry what you were never meant to hold. Surrender now, and we will spare this world. Refuse, and we will take it from your ashes. She stepped forward. I never asked for this. I never wanted your power, but you gave it, and now is mine. The sky answered. Then it will burn with you. Beams of light lanced down from the ships. Not lasers, not fire, something colder. Something that pulled at the ground like gravity turned inside out. Buildings cracked, cars flew, people screamed. Kara raised her hands, and the world stopped. The beams froze. The air shimmered, time bent just for a breath, and in that breath, she rose. The rooftop crumbled beneath her, but she did not fall. She floated upward, her eyes black, her skin burning white, her heart pounding like a storm inside her chest. The first ship opened. A figure stepped out, tall, bright, unreal. It hovered toward her, speaking in waves of thought. You do not understand what you carry. It is not power. It is hunger. It will consume you. And then it will consume them. Kara shook her head. You made me. Now face mesh reached out. The light in her palm flared. The figure flinched. She moved faster than sound. a blur of light and rage. She hit the figure, and it shattered into light and ash. The ship behind it screamed, not with sound, with pain. It exploded into 1,000 stars, and the others saw they attacked all at once, streams of cold energy, blades of light fields that bent the world. Kara danced through them. Each attack brushed her, but none could touch her. She weaved between beams, twisted through. Gravity traps. She was faster, smarter, angrier. One ship fell, then another, then 10. And still they came. The sky was worn out, color and chaos, roaring silence down below. The people watched, not with fear, with awe. One of their own had become something else. Something that burned brighter than the sun. She fought not for revenge, not for glory. She fought because they had taken everything from her. And now she was taking it back. Another ship broke open. Another voice called, "Please stop. You are changing. The seed is growing. You're not human anymore." Kara froze for a second. The words hit something deep. Was she still human? Was there still a mind behind this flame? Or just the storm wearing her skin? But the moment passed, she remembered the chamber, the pain, the screams of those before her, the way they begged, the way no one listened. And she roared. Wave of power burst from her body. Not fire, not light, something pure, something raw. It swept the sky clean. Hundreds of ships blinked out like candles. In wind, the clouds cleared, the silence returned. She floated alone now, above a world she barely recognized. Inside a body she no longer fully understood, but she was still Kara. She had to believe that as. She lowered back to the earth, the fires around. The city began to fade. The people stepped out from hiding. The skies no longer rumbled. The stars no longer watched. And somewhere deep above, far in the black beyond sight, something else awakened, something older, something worse they had sent there. Soldiers, now they would send the ones who built them. The stars no longer twinkled. They stared, unblinking, cold, vast, and heavy like eyes too old to care and too wise to look away. Kara stood in the ruins of a burned city, her feet on cracked stone, her hands glowing faintly, her body trembling, no. She did not feel cold. She had won the battle in the sky, but the silence that followed did not bring peace. It brought something worse, a question without a voice, a storm without wind, a warning without words. She looked up again, and the stars blinked. Only once it was enough. The air shifted, the ground pulsed, the animals fled. The ocean stilled. Something was coming, not ships, not soldiers, not hunters-makers. The ones who created the beings, who gave her the seed, the ones who forged the technology that bent time and folded space like paper, the ones who had not interfered until now. She felt them before she saw them, a pressure deep in the earth. A shadow across the moon, a hum inside her chest, like a second heartbeat. She walked through the city. People stared, some with hope, some with fear. None spoke. Her skin no longer glowed, but her eyes did. Bright and sharp like stars trapped in glass. Children followed her. A man wept as she passed. A woman held out her hand, then pulled it back like touching her. It would break the world. She did not speak. She could not yet. She reached a field where the grass had not grown in years, where the ground had forgotten sunlight, where machines once stood, but now nothing remained but dust and bones of steel. She fell to her knees, not from pain, not from sorrow, but because she felt something reach down from the stars. They had arrived, not in fire, not in sound, but in silence. The sky darkened, the sun dimmed, time stretched, and then they stepped through, tall, still shaped, like figures from forgotten dreams. They had no eyes, but they saw, no mouths, but they spoke. No faces, but she knew they were looking at her, and only her. They stood on the edge of the field. Not one, not two, but three, one of light, one of shadow, one of something in between. They did not move, they did not breathe, but the world bent around them like space itself bowed in respect. Kara stood. Her body felt heavier, her mind clear. The middle figure spoke, not with sound, but through her thoughts. "We did not mean to create you. We only meant to test. You were not chosen, you were caught." She stepped forward, her voice strong. "Then why not take it back?" Figure tilted. "We cannot. The seed has bonded. You are no longer separate. You are no longer containable." "Why come at all?" she asked. "Why now to warn you?" The figure said, to offer a choice. "There is no choice," she answered. "You tricked me. You changed me. You threw me into a fire and called it a test. The figure of light pulsed. You burned too brightly. You will draw others. You will bring warmth in. Let it come," she said. "Let them all come." The figure of shadow moved first, one step forward, and the ground broke. A tree turned to ash. A bird fell from the sky. "You do not understand. You are a signal now, a flare in the dark, and they will follow the light, not to worship, but to feed." Kara's hands rose. The power inside her stirred. It wanted out. It wanted to roar. But she held it back. What do you want from me? She asked. Why stand before me now to see if the fire can be shaped to see if you can become something more or if we must end you before others begin? She took another step. You will not end me. You gave me this. Now you face the weight of it. The figure in between pulsed with strange color, like twilight, like smoke, like memory. Then prove it, it said. Show us what you are, not what we made. The three beings vanished. The sky cleared. But the world did not feel lighter. It felt more fragile, like one breath could break it. Kara stood alone again, but not empty she. Now understood, this was not about revenge. This was not about returning home. This was about control, about survival, about becoming more than an accident. She turned toward the mountains where old things waited. Where the stars once fell if they wanted. Proof they would get it not with power, not with destruction. But with choice, she would find her limits. She would test their rules. And if they tried to shape her again, she would reshape the stars themselves. Asterisk, the wind on the mountain was colder than anything she had felt before, not because of the air, not because of the snow, but because of the silence that wrapped around her, like a second skin. She had walked for 3 days through forests that whispered, through rivers that shimmered with strange light, through ruins that bent the sky like forgotten memories, and now she stood at the edge of something ancient, something buried, something waiting. The sky above her was wrong. It moved too fast, too deep, as if the stars had leaned closer. As if they were watching without blinking, without warmth. She reached the summit and saw the crater. It was not a natural hole. It was wide and smooth and deep carved, not by time, but by thought. In its center was a stone that floated inches above. The ground pulsing slowly like a sleeping heart. She stepped closer, each breath heavier, each sound sharper. The stone was not made of anything she knew, not metal, not rock, not light. It was all of them at once and none at all. It spoke without speaking. Not words, not images, just a feeling, recognition. It had been waiting for her. Kara reached out her fingers, shaking not from fear, but from the weight of something unknown, something inside her that twisted at the edge of awakening. Her hand touched the stone and everything around her fell away. She was no longer on earth. She was no longer in her body. She floated through memories that were not hers. Worlds forming, stars collapsing, civilizations rising, then vanishing, in seconds beings that walked. Through fire and air and thought, voices that built laws into the fabric of the universe. And then a crack, the seed, the creation, a source of limitless change meant for one purpose. Evolution, but it was unstable, unpredictable. It broke more than it. Healed, and they locked it away, deep buried, forgotten, until her Kara opened her eyes, and the world returned. But it was different. The sky was darker, the crater wider, the stone gone. She now carried it, not just the seed, but the core, the source it. Sat behind her ribs, pulsing like a second sun, burning slow and deep and silent. She fell to her knees, not in pain, but in awe. She had become the answer to a question no one wanted to ask. The stars shifted again, and something saw her and out the makers. Not the hunters, not the ones who gave the seed something older. She stood slowly, her body feeling like glass filled with fire. She knew now what the others feared. She was not just a mistake. She was a signal, a beacon, a path others like her could rise. Others could wake, and the ones in the stars would not allow it. The sky split not with light, but with absence. A shadow fell across the mountain, so vast it covered half the sky. So silent it made sound vanish. So deep it made the air crackle. No. A city, no a god, something between all three. It hovered, watching, waiting. Kara raised her hands. She felt the core flare. She did not need to fly. She simply rose. The shadow spoke not in voice, but through gravity, through time, through the bending of every living thing around it. You are the flaw. You are the danger. You are the future we feared. She answered not with words, but with fire. Not anger, truth. She was not the danger. They were the ones who created and abandoned and hunted the sky burned around her. As she moved toward the shadow, its walls opened, its weapons shone. Its mind reached for hers, but she was already inside it, not through doors, through will. She saw its heart, a machine made of stars and sorrow. A cage for worlds, a prison for thought. She placed her hand upon it, and it knew her too late. The machine shattered, the light died, the shadow screamed, the sky cleared. She floated alone again, above a mountain that no longer held the stone, below stars that no longer blinked in silence. The world felt it, the change, the shift. She had touched the source. and the stars had felt her touch. Now nothing would ever be the same again. The sky no longer held stars, it held her name whispered across the black like a flame that would not die, like a sound too loud for silence. Kara drifted above the world, her body no longer. Bound by weight, her mind a storm of memory and power, and light below her the earth. Breaths slow and small above her, the galaxy twisted around her like a tide drawn to something new, something impossible, something human. She had not returned to Earth as a hero. She had returned as a message, and every eye that looked to the sky saw it, not in news feeds, not in reports. They felt it. They knew something had changed. In cities across the planet, lights flickered, animals fled, radios trailed, clocks spun backward, dreams grew sharp and deep, and strange children woke with voices not their own. Machines blinked to life. The sky cracked with lightning that left no sound, only color. Cora inside her had awakened something not just in her, but in the world around her. She could feel the thoughts of those who watched her, not with fear, not with worship, with something deeper. Something like understanding. They saw a woman standing alone against the ancient, and they knew she was one of them. But not all who watched came from Earth, far beyond the solar. Wind past the frozen belts, and a long dark where even time seemed still, a gate opened. It was not metal, it was not light, it was a wound in the skin of space. And through it came voices, not words, intent, questions made of gravity and sound, and thought who, how, why they did not know Earth, but they knew it had risen from Akira, turned slowly, her body facing the gate. She could see the ship, strange and long and silent beings, with no form but presence. They hovered at the edge of her solar system like wolves at the edge of fire, waiting to see if it would burn out or grow. She did not lift her hands. She did not call them. She simply existed, and it was enough. They saw what she was. They saw the core, and they hesitated not from fear, from memory. Once long ago, they too had touched the source, and it had ruined them. Now they saw it again, not in their own, but in a creature they once believed simple and soft and bound to dirt. Human. The gate did not close, but the ships did not move behind her. Earth waited, not safe, not ready, but alive. Kara descended. She moved through clouds like wind through fire. She touched the ground, and the trees bent toward her. She stepped into the city, and the lights followed her. She walked among people, and their voices grew quiet. The man in black returned. He looked at her, not with control, not with fear, not with orders. He only asked one thing: what happens now? She looked at him, at the sky, at the people, at her hands. Now they come, now they watch. Now we decide who we become. She could feel the core pulsing inside her, not angry, not loud, just ready. If they attacked, she would answer. If they fled, she would follow. If they listened, she would speak. The seed had not just changed her. It had opened a path, not one, future millions, but she would not walk them alone. She reached out, touched the ground, and the earth responded, not with fire, with growth. Grass moved like water, stones rose like breath. The planet felt her now, and she felt that she had become more than signal, more than weapon, more than mistake. She had become a mirror. What the stars saw in her, they feared not, because she was stronger. Because she was familiar, a reminder that even the smallest could rise, that even the quietest voice could echo across galaxies, that even a single human could rewrite everything. She stood at the center of the world, her heart holding the oldest light, her voice holding the newest question. Not how to fight, not how to rule, but how to build. She looked till the stars then walked forward, and the stars followed.